Are you interested in getting in radio?
Are you kidding? And end up like you guys?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Penk here with more Radio Nightmares. More of those radio slip-ups, bloopers, mistakes, cock-ups. Call them what you like. You know, the best bits.
Do you pronounce that Cisneros?
Cisneros.
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 No.
All right, now we're honored to have on the line the former Prime Minister of Canada, John Diefenbacher. Good afternoon, sir.
That's not the right pronunciation either.
All right, I'm sorry.
Diefenbaker it is.
Diefenbaker, I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Diefenbacher.
Name just one tiny rotten character flaw you may have.
I'm a bitch when I'm pregnant.
Oh, what a song title.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Hello, you're on the air.
This is the 6 o'clock news. An intensive police search has been mounted for 3 men missing on Port Phillip Bay. Here's Colin Denovan. Oh dear, what have we done? We're reading the wrong news. That's why you haven't got it, lad. I'm sorry. The lead sheet was right, but that's the news from the last lot. We'll start again.
All day.
Right here on...
coming up to 8 o'clock, we're going to go over to IRN for news in a minute. After the news, skint video coming up to have an interview. In fact, they're waiting out there already, and Steve Bunyan's interviewing them. Right now on 963, the time is 8 o'clock, and it's time to go over to IRN for the news.
And keep it up.
Oh, Lawrence just told me to keep speaking. What's wrong with the clock, Lawrence? This has gone wrong. Clock's wrong. It was not my fault. I'll carry on speaking. I could have carried on playing the record, but how much longer have I got to wait? Making me feel I'm a right Wally here. Am I allowed to put a jingle on, or can I put the news on now? I'll put a jingle on. I've got a whole minute. Are we live? Yeah, we're live. It's great fun, isn't it?
Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Wow.
Thank you, Les. On the ground. Oh, sorry, I've given you the wrong jingle there. What I really mean is traffic news, and on the ground we've got Dennis Atwood at the police.
Take your gardening calls a little bit later on. I do apologise, that's not correct introduction for the news.
It's 10 o'clock. An American couple...
No preparation evaluated yet has shown any promise. Bob Simpson asked Professor Zuckerman whether reports that various vaccines are already being tried out were accurate. I'm very sorry, I am told that I've read the wrong thing there. Could you tell me what I am supposed to be reading, please? I'm very sorry, we've got a slight muddle here.
Spokesman for the Trust, Warren Davis, says that their council is asking members to vote against the move, as it would go against the wishes of people who've donated them land.
Bristol City winger Mark Gavin looks certain to return at Mansfield this afternoon.
Obviously, demoralisation within the present theatre staff will lead to further resignations.
Obviously the wrong tape there. I do apologise. We'll get back to that report at 9 o'clock. The 2 most famous whales in the world are swimming to freedom after escaping an icy grave in the Arctic. Crossbank and Bonnet hit the open sea by heading down a channel, which was cut by rescuers through the Alaskan pack ice, which had trapped them for 3 weeks. From the scene, here's Kerry Anderson.
Good morning, this is Tony Lockwood with the top sports news in the West Coast.
We seem to have 1 or 2 gremlins in the works this morning. Never mind, we'll return to that story too.
Labels warning the sick, the old and pregnant women not to eat soft cheeses now seem the most likely government response to the latest health scare. Officials are discounting talk of banning types of cheese, and the French have been assured there's no danger to their exports of brie and camembert. But food scientists say there's still widespread public confusion about what is and isn't safe. Professor Richard Lacey of Leeds University says a complete government policy at the moment is a shambles.
It is a disgrace. I've never seen such a chaos as this.
I'm extremely sorry that report seems to have been interrupted. We'll try and bring it to you at a later date.
An investigation has been ordered by the government into the extent of an organism in the country's water supplies. Detectives are particularly interested in the photographs. Some appear to have been taken in a photo booth and others with an instant Polaroid camera.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Hello, you're on the air.
The trials begin, I'm told, at 1 o'clock, and the gathering is near Speaker's Corner. I might try it myself. If nothing else, I could at least blow up the balls.
The English National Opera unveiled its new production of Wagner's Master Singers. As this theatre has a high reputation for its Wagner, the event was eagerly awaited, and the theatre packed, even though it's a 6-hour evening. Good Lord. Diane Stradling reports.
According to the GLC's health panel, the government's action has cost the city more than £30 million in the last 2 years. They say 18 million was lost last year in cutbacks when London health authorities were forced to axe 2,500 jobs and 39 hospitals were faced with closure. The fight to save many of these is still on.
Little excitement there from Diane Stradling. We'll get her in a better mood later on.
This is what they had to say about that. Oh, well, that's not quite what they had to say about that.
Finally, police in Telford are hunting for a man dressed as a glamorous woman who hitched up his skirt and flashed his stockings and suspenders at a constable before making off. Despite a chase, the man escaped, but police have issued a description of the suspect, who was wearing a smart pink dress. A spokesman said it may not be an offence for a man to dress in this manner, but he said they were curious about his motives. And the West Midlands weather, rather cloudy this afternoon. A few brighter spells are expected. And the top temperature this afternoon, 12 degrees Celsius.
This is Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Ships of the British Task Force are at battle stations tonight in the Falklands War Zone. What? The Falklands War Zone, but there have been no reports of any clashes since last night.
Military rulers of Argentina are getting ready to welcome American Secretary of State Alexander Haig on the second leg of his peace mission.
The small South Pacific kingdom of Tonga will crown its monarch tomorrow in a ceremony following the royal traditions of England and the ancient customs, feasting and dancing of Polynesia. King Taufa King Taufa Ahautu-Pou, who stands 6 feet 4 and weighs 21 stone, will don his coronation robes and accept the crown.
It's part of a £3.5 million package to help unemployed teenagers in the capital. Neil Fletcher of Ilya told us how the school dole scheme will work.
The remainder of the estate was left to his widow, Mrs. Elaine Steinbeck. John Steinbeck named his widow and his lawyer, Mr. Harry Bookman, as co-executors and directed that they have full power to deal with his literary works and to exploit them advantageously.
The emergency sea rescue services in Cornwall were alerted this morning when a coaster sent out a radio call that it was in danger of drifting onto rocks on the Lizard. The Coast Guards have launched the Lizard lifeboat.
Winds of up to hurricane force have caused havoc throughout the West Country. I can't read that. It's been written by my editor in his own handwriting. I have to move on.
The Pope left Rome 2 hours ago on board on an Irish Aer Lingus jumbo jet bearing the name St. Patrick's.
The Foreign Secretary, Lord Carrington, will say this morning whether today's session of the London Conference of the Future of Zimbabwe
But first, the accident tonight on the Elston Road, Leicester, in which 4 people were injured and have been taken to hospital. The crash involved 5 vehicles and happened at the junction with Middleton Street and Wigston Lane. Bharat Patel now reports from our radio car.
I've got the mast not up, but just raised, and I can't get it down now.
No, we seem to have difficulty in getting Bharat Patel's report there. We hope to come back to that a little later.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
We'll have some fun.
And a classified check on today's racing results from Colin Turner.
Starting with the results from Newmarket, the 113.
Well, he was there a moment. I wonder where he's gone to now.
Why have you got a red nose?
Lack of sun today, I think, really, and plus I think it was that naughty lady, Dee Dee the clown, who's gone round bonking everybody. Is that the word? Boinging everybody.
Now, Libra, oh, poor Libra. Expect a little shock. It won't be a bad shock. You'll be all right. But still, a sudden change in the weather can catch you unawares. You should know the snow is coming again. Never mind. There could be an annoying shortage. So it's not a great week so far for Libra.
It isn't really, is it?
But still, illness will take the fun out of life. I don't mean it as badly as that, but I'm afraid it is a bit of a poorly week for some Libran people. Look after your throats, all right? Wrap up warm if you're going out. A bargain? Oh, dear. A bargain turns out to be a rotten deal for Libran people.
Oh, we shouldn't laugh. This is awful.
I know. And listen, this is even better. The family could be making plans behind your back. I'm sorry. Everything's going wrong for Libra. Oh, dear. Never mind. You could just trust someone who wants to help you. Oh, dear. Try not to moralise.
I've never known you like this.
Indeed, Dick, and from one Dick to another at the East Midlands Weather Centre this evening. It's a good evening to Dick Porter. Hello, Dick.
Hello, Matthew.
Weather forecast, frost and fog at, beg your pardon, frost and fog at first, but dry with sunshine later in the day. It's 4 minutes past 6.
And that's the news now, Graham.
Thank you, Delaney. The weather, showers in the east will die away to give a cloudy night. Tomorrow will be sunny with showers again in the east.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Hello, you're on the air.
Goats, they're influenced by wind. And if the greys with their heads in the wind, that means we're going to get a fine day. Hold on, it's coming. They're influenced by wind. And if the greys with their heads in the wind, that means we're going to get a fine day. No, it's not. And goats, they're influenced by wind, and if it grazes with its head in the wind... Oh, God. Right, it's coming.
Bright during the day, but with some overnight fog and frost.
So it's not going to be too bad then. I mean, will we be able to get our chopper up tomorrow? That's the main thing we're worried about.
Time to go over live to Cheltenham Police Headquarters now for the crime call. And there waiting for us is, keep guessing. It's Mike Pennington.
Correct. A report from Bristol Zoo on the sexing of seagulls. Well, now over to the police for traffic news. Yes.
Yes. Good morning, Roger. Thank you. Motorists coming into the city of Bristol via the Three Lamps junction.
The time now 20 minutes past 7. The Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds marks its centenary with a new campaign launched today, Action for Birds. Well, with me, the president of the RSPB, Magnus Magnusson. First of all, which species are under most attack, would you say?
Before I do that, could I correct that very interesting Freudian slip you made? It's not the Royal Society for the Prevention of Birds.
Protection.
It's the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Now, out in the sticks this very morning, something stirred. Well, I'm sure it didn't sound quite like that. They're not actually allowed to use automatic weaponry against them. Rural sport, if you like that type of thing. The fox. I'm so sorry. The idea of a machine gun to introduce what we're talking about was the best our sound effects department could come up with. Now, the fox, unless you happen to be very hungry indeed, is widely regarded as inedible. Those who pursue it are, in one school of thought, unspeakable. Now, the same perhaps might be said for those who've paid handsomely for the privilege of taking aim at the innocent grouse this morning. On the grouse moors of England, the shooting parties are already stalking their harmless and ultimately delicious quarries. What stands between them and a good day's shoot will not be the efforts of the anti-bloodsport brigade, but the insidious effects of the trichostongyle worm. I know it sounds funny, but it isn't.
Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
And that's it for this edition of Radio Nightmares. There's more next time.